Hey, what's up? So I've been able to play Persona 3 Reload a bit recently, and I think I'm at the point where I can actually give some tips, at least when it comes to the early game. There are a ton of things to do in the game and all the choices can get a little overwhelming. In addition, I feel like P3R combat wise is actually the hardest early on. It is true that later enemies get more complex mechanics and stronger moves, but your capabilities in terms of stronger personas, enhanced combat techniques, and ways to conserve HP and SP more than make up for it. Early game, especially on the higher difficulties, can feel the roughest due to your lack of options. So with this video, I tried to include a lot of helpful tips, particularly for those early Tartarus encounters. Like and sub if this video ends up being helpful, and let's get started. One of the central gameplay features of Persona 3 are social links. Most of your time spent in the overworld, especially the daytime portions, will be spent interacting with various characters, learning about them and their stories, and deepening your bond with them. Increasing your rank in these social links is important because it allows you to get extra XP when fusing personas, and it eventually allows you to unlock fusions for some of the best ones in the game. Additionally, new social links are often found as you progress existing ones. The strength social link of Yuki can be started after you have done a bit of Kazu's chariot social link of the track team. The temperance social link can be started shortly after doing some of the Hierophant social link with the old couple at the bookstore. Keep progressing social links to find even more options. One basic but important tip for social links is to always have a persona in your stock that matches the arcana of the character you're hanging out with. So if you're about to see Kaz, make sure you have a chariot persona. Doing so will allow you to get more points when you select the right answers, and over time, these will add up. Early on, it can be hard to match with every character, so don't stress about it too much then, but as you progress, try to make it a habit. Some useful ones to obtain or fuse early on can be Aramatama for chariot, Amoikane for Hierophant, Onmaraki for Hermit, and Valkyrie for Strength. Another feature that's new in Reload is the rewind function. Basically, if you feel like you answered incorrectly in a social link, or you want to do something different on a day, you can use rewind to go back in time. It isn't possible to go back too far, so don't rely on it completely, but it can be a nice tool to have at your disposal. Now that we've gotten social links out the way, the other key aspect is increasing your 3 stats of academics, courage, and charm. There are a number of ways to go about this in Reload, so I mainly wanted to talk about what I've been using so far. The Game Arcade in Polonia Mall has a rotating selection of games to choose from, and all the stat boosting ones are useful. I've been using some combination of all 3 for stat points and it's worked out well. Also in Polonia Mall is the cafe, where you can work part-time. This one's great because you can actually earn money and gain points at the same time. The next one is using the shared computer in the dormitory. In late April, you get access to this computer and are able to buy software from a net cafe in Iwai Todai Strip Mall. The software is a bit expensive, but for me it's been worth it. After getting the software, you can boot up the computer and gain points in the evenings. Lastly would be eating at spots in the strip mall. One being Wild Duck Burger, where you can increase your courage, and eventually, if you're able to complete their challenges, you get a +2 boost to all stats. And another being Wakatsu Kitchen. After eating once there, as long as your charm is high enough, you can access a secret menu that boosts academics by 2 points each time. For a free stat boost, go to the nurse's office on days after exploring Tartarus. You can drink a concoction and get points without spending any time. So great. You know how to boost stats, but a problem arises because everything costs money. How to get money? Well, from my experience, the best way is simply grinding Tartarus. When you defeat enemies in Tartarus, you can get Shuffle Time, and one of the cards available is a Receive Money card. Normally, battles don't actually give any money, so I've been taking this card pretty much every time it comes up, unless there's a Persona card I don't already own. The bonus XP cards aren't bad at all either, but you always get XP from doing battles, and there seems to be some steep level scaling in Reload, so you'll generally end up at the game's intended level no matter what. That tends to be level 10 to 11 before the first full moon boss, and level 18 to 19 before the second one. Another way Tartarus gives money is all the treasure you collect as you traverse it. After finishing a Tartarus run, go to the police station on the next day and sell everything you have. It'll net you a lot of money. One way to get more money and XP is by defeating Golden Hands, the rare enemies in Tartarus. To increase the odds of these enemies showing up, you can get a rarity fortune at Club Escapade. I don't think this is available early on, but keep it in mind later. 2 places I'd actually recommend not spending too much money in are the police station and the pharmacy. Even when you go on discount days, which are Monday for the police station and Saturday for the pharmacy, the items in these shops can be pretty expensive. You tend to pick up many items during your Tartarus runs or as the story progresses, such as equipment or healing items, so it makes the stuff you get from these two shops a little redundant. Picking up some gear for your main character so they don't die, and a few healing items, namely the ailment cures, from the pharmacy can be a good idea, but don't go too crazy. Besides money, the biggest bottleneck the game throws at you is the lack of SP. When you start a Tartarus run, you're hitting weaknesses, getting all out attacks, everything is great, but you can very quickly deplete the SP reserves on all your characters. One easy band-aid is buying the SP drinks at the various vending machines. There's some in the dorm, Iwai Todai Strip Mall, and Iwai Todai Station. These drinks only restore 5 SP, but hey, 5 SP can sometimes come in clutch. Another way is stocking up Twilight Fragments and using them at the right time during a Tartarus exploration. Twilight Fragments are a new currency that can allow you to open chests, as well as restoring HP and SP. If you use 7 Twilight Fragments on one of the clocks in Tartarus, your whole team's HP and SP automatically replenish. During my playthrough, I've tried to keep 7 of these fragments, and when my whole team is out of SP, and I don't want to use more SP items, I can go to one of these clocks and effectively start a fresh run. You may miss out on a lock chest here or there. It's a bit personal preference, but it's worked for me in order to complete whole Tartarus blocks in one go. The last thing I wanted to talk about are the actual early game encounters. Given your limited resources, these fights can be some of the more challenging ones. So I thought I'd go over the early gatekeepers and bosses and how to tackle them. The first 2 gatekeepers aren't too crazy, as all the enemies are weak to fire and wind. You mainly use Junpei and Yukari, with the MC using Orpheus or anyone else you have. These are basically hit weaknesses tutorials, so there isn't too much to talk about. Just knock them down and heal often enough. The last boss of the first Tartarus block is definitely more challenging. This enemy is weak to lightning and can do AoE wind attacks, which Junpei is weak to. Some good personas for this boss, and really this whole section, are Nekomata for her defense down skill Rakunda, Orpheus for the attack buffing skill Tarukaja, Jack Frost for ice magic, and Amoikane for lightning magic. Try fusing Nekomata's Rakunda onto a higher level persona when you can, so you can continue to make use of it as the game progresses. For the last gatekeeper, use this persona's lightning attacks, buff attack, and lower defense. Have Junpei only buff the MC's defense and otherwise guard. It's not worth giving the boss a million extra turns and needing to heal him more. For the first full moon boss, Jack Frost's ice immunity and Fornius resistance are nice, because that's what the boss uses. Same strategy of buffing attack, lowering defense, hitting weaknesses on the summons, and wailing on the boss should work out here. Just don't use ice on her, since I believe she may resist it. The last tip is, you don't always have to all-out attack. All-out attacks are great because they do a good chunk of damage and cost no HP or SP. For random encounters, I always use them. But for tougher battles, withdrawing from an all-out attack for a different action can sometimes be better. An all-out attack always removes the enemy's down state, while hitting them normally when they're down can result in them becoming dizzy, which prolongs that vulnerable state. There's also many other actions you can do during the one more, such as buffing, debuffing, or healing. So all-out attacks are definitely not bad, just sometimes you can opt not to use them in favor of other actions. So those are all the tips I had for early game. This video took a little while to make, but I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome. Leave your own tips in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.